Welcome to the Women Getting Stupid Rich podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Blosman, and this is Season 1. I believe putting women in leadership roles is not the answer. I believe it's simply a band-aid, a distraction from the real solution. Quantum leap change for women happens when they own wildly successful and profitable businesses, creating thousands of bootstrapping self-made female millionaires and billionaires. This podcast allows you to ride shotgun with me as I launch my new business, Femcanic Tools. I will be documenting my full journey from $0 to the first million with a goal of doing it in 12 months. I will share all of the behind-the-scenes secrets of what works and what doesn't, using 100% of my own money with no day job. On your marks, get set, let's do this. Hey, this is Jamie B, and welcome to the Wgsr Women Getting Stupid Rich podcast. In today's topic, I'm going to be diving into this concept of falling out of love with your business. And what does that mean? How do you fall back in love with your business? It's an interesting concept because when I started the Femcanic Garage podcast in March of 2019, I was so in love with my business and what I was doing. I was scared. I quite honestly didn't know what I was doing because I'd never been a podcast host before. I've never done a podcast. I've never done any of that. And I thought, hey, I'm going to record this. I want to learn from other women. I'm going to record this and figure out information and learn from other women, and maybe other women can listen to it too and get a benefit from it. I honestly didn't think it would get as big as it has gotten. I thought maybe friends or family members might listen to a couple episodes just to make me feel good. And then once I hit 1,000 downloads and then 5,000 downloads and then 10,000 downloads, so on and so forth, it's like, I think this might be more than just friends and family listening. And I was in love with what I was doing. And you kind of fast forward and you keep grinding and grinding. And the thing about being an entrepreneur is that, and what you don't see on social media is how lonely it feels. Here I am talking to you right now. You're listening, watching this, and I'm literally sitting here alone talking to a camera, right? And as an entrepreneur, oftentimes you're a solopreneur. It's just you. Maybe you have one other person working with you. There's possibility, maybe a small team, and that team may be remote. So the biggest aha moment for me was, compared to like the corporate job, is that I forgot how much I enjoyed the company of coworkers. So it was easy to kind of feel isolated and alone as an entrepreneur, which kind of can feed into the falling out of love with your business, right? You get excited about something and maybe you share it with your spouse, friends, family members, and they get excited for you because they're excited for sure, but it's different. There was this evolution of, as I dove into it deeper and it started growing and evolving, and I started growing more as a person as well because I wanted my business to grow. I started noticing how I didn't feel understood by a lot of friends and family members because I was operating at a different wavelength now. I wasn't operating at the corporate America 9-to-5 job wavelength that the majority of people operate from. It's I work my shift, my hours, my 9-to-5, my Monday through Friday, whatever your shift is, and then you go do your weekend thing. And when you're an entrepreneur and you love what you do, you really believe in it and you're passionate about it, it's more than that. Like it's more than just a 9-to-5. They don't always conform to specific times. You get ideas and inspiration all the time. right? And sometimes really weird times. And I found that I started going through this grieving process of like recognizing that I had to limit my time or even remove some people from my life, not because they weren't good people. It's that it's what's needed to get to that next level. And I'm not saying eliminate everyone from your life, but now you need to start surrounding yourself with like-minded people as it relates to business. So you go through this process, you're in love with it, and then you get kind of like, you feel a little stagnant. But then there's this thing that happens as your business grows and you kind of move into those next phases. You catch yourself starting to work in the business almost exclusively instead of on your business. See, when you start a new business, and when I say start, I use that term loosely. That might be your first 3 to 5 years in business. That's the startup phase, right? When you start a business, you're working on your business, right? You're figuring out branding, you're figuring out email campaigns, you're figuring out the way in which you're going to do business and the way in which your company is going to be perceived. It's kind of like finding the voice of your company. So that is all working on your business. But then what starts to happen, and the timing of it is different for everyone, but what starts to happen is once those things are done, all right, I mean, you only create your brand once. You may evolve a little bit, but now you're in the phase of the transaction or the customer service has to be executed on, the product delivery has to be executed on, the service delivery has to be executed on. The execution of those things, right? The admin stuff, the delivery, fill in the blank. That's all working in your business. All right. So for me, when I first started my podcast, the working on my business was figuring out what is the message, the purpose, the goal of that podcast. All right. What is the logo for that podcast? What's the intro for that podcast? What's the outro? Like that's working on it. It's developing in that creativity side of things. Now, once that was done, now I need to go find women to interview. I need to get them scheduled. I need to get them the information that they need. So emails sent out. And then you're scheduling. Oh my gosh, that was the biggest thorn in my side. The back and forth email. I did figure out how to automate all of that, literally every last step. But then you need to then I needed to edit it. So the editing part was working in the business. And what I caught myself falling into, and what I see a lot of entrepreneurs do and fall into, is the trap of working in your business opposed to on your business. Now, there's always a period of time that you need to work in your business because you need to figure out what you want your process to be. And you can't figure that out by not doing it, right? You need to do it some in order to figure out what it is you want, to even be able to communicate it to someone else, to be able to create a standard operating procedure around it. But that's where they get tripped up, is that they never get out of that. They work in their business and never get out of it, because there's this conception of, I can't afford a VA, I can't afford a podcast editor, I can't afford a social media manager, I can't, right? Because I'm a startup, I don't have a lot of extra funds. Garbage. It's all garbage. You can afford it. You really can. You would be shocked at what you can afford to do to give yourself more time back so that you can get back to falling in love with your business and the reason why you started it all. And you can get back to working on it instead of in it, because you need to get back to your superpower. And your superpower, more than likely, is not doing administrative tasks for your business. They're necessary, But just because they're necessary doesn't mean you have to be the one doing them. So a fast track of falling out of love with your business is getting sucked into the trap and getting stuck in working in your business instead of on your business. All right. One of the biggest tragedies of so many small businesses that I have worked with is this part right here. The frequency in which it happens, where ebb and flows, falling in and out of love with your business in the first 3 to 5 years is astonishing. Like it can happen weekly, it feels like sometimes. All right. But the key here is, one, awareness of it, understanding it for what it is so that you can catch it. And if you're able to catch it, that means you don't give up on your dream. You're less likely to give up on your dream. And the whole reason why you started all of this in the first place, right? That's key. And believe me, I can't tell you how many times I just wanted to give up, where I'd sit there and I'd be like, is anyone even listening? Is this even helping anyone? Why am I doing this? This is so much time and effort. Why am I doing this? Yes, we all want to make money, for sure. But that is typically, majority of the time, that is not one of the initial reasons why you started doing what you did. Yes, you wanted to make money at it. But more than likely, it was something that you believed in. You had a purpose, a passion for something that you then need to figure out how to generate revenue and make a comfortable living for yourself. All right. So what does this all mean? All right. We all start with falling in love with our business. What triggers us to fall out of love with our business is getting and staying in the trap of working in our business. When we start taking steps to set our business up for true long-term success, we start implementing teams, policies, procedures, standard operating procedures that give us our time back as the owner so that we can work on our business more rather than 99% of time working in our business. That's why I developed the program Wgsr Secret Hacks. There's a free webinar you can go to where I do a deep dive into the what around it, right? The 3 pillars of it. Oh, bah! Yes, it's so much fun to say, I know, but I go into great detail around that. And I debunk a lot of these myths we have in our head as small business owners that we can't afford help. I've been working with one of my web developer and designers for over 2 years. My podcast editor has been with me for over a year. All right. And it's not as expensive as you think. You would be mind blown at how much could be taken off of your plate for just $50 to $100 a week. You would still get ton done for just $50 to $100 a month. You would have your mind blown about what possibilities exist for just that little bit of investment. If I told you you could have 5 to 10 hours given back to you per week for spending $50 a week, would that catch your attention? 10 hours a week. That's a lot of time. You could probably even get more than that, to be honest. So here's the thing. My hopes for all of you is that if you are in a place right now where maybe you feel stuck, maybe you kind of feel like giving up on it, And you know what? You see some of your friends in their 9 to 5 and they seem to go out on the weekends or whatever, enjoying themselves. And you're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I thought being an entrepreneur and having my own company meant freedom, but I feel like I have a big ball and chain attached to me. I feel less freedom now as a business owner than I did as an employee. That's red flags that there is a different way. Listen to the red flags. Come, let me educate you and help you get over that. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. So what do you have to lose? Come and learn a little bit. All it costs you is a little bit of time. And that little bit of time you spend could give you hours back into your calendar. Hours. So here's the thing. Let's make it a priority to do and educate ourselves, to keep us in a space of keeping it fresh and new, much like a relationship. But keep it fresh and new so that we are continually falling in love with our business. It's never going to be all the time, but you definitely want the frequency in which you're falling in love with your business deeper and deeper to be higher than the falling out of love phase. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments and challenges that maybe you've had around falling in and out of love with your business. Drop them in the comments below. I want to hear from you. It makes it not so lonely in this craziness, like I'm some crazy person talking to my computer right now. But drop the comments down below. This is Jamie B signing off. Are you a Femcanic?